And we are live. Hey, everybody. This is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today with the amazing Desiree Rose.
Here to help you grow your business with better social media and content marketing. And today we're talking about live streaming.
Live streaming. We're going to give our best advice to small streamers. And again, take the phrase small streamers with a grain of salt there. We do want you to understand that this is not to ever talk down to anybody or make anybody feel bad about their numbers. It's just a real understanding of the fact that a lot of times you are worried that people will not show up to your stream. You're worried that people are not going to pay attention to you. You're worried that you don't have a big enough audience for what you're trying to do. And does anybody really care? And what we want to do is we want to give you some advice and kind of help you navigate that and understand how to potentially promote your streams, get more viewers, grow a larger audience, and things of that nature.
I also think it's important that we make sure that we are we're going to talk about how you're using your live stream to grow your business as well. I think it's really important to make sure that you're a good live streamer and that you're accomplishing all of the things that go into live streaming, like views and flow and recording for the replay and all that stuff, but how you can tie it into your business. So many live streamers are not what Roberto and I are. We're full-time creators and do that kind of stuff. You guys are live streaming with the intention of growing a business, whether it's service-based or whatever it may be. So we want to make sure you have really good tips to guide you through how you can use your live stream to grow your brand as well. And you're muted, Roberto.
Sorry about that. Live streaming can be a tremendous way to grow your business and to grow your brand. And the thing is, what you were saying, Desiree, is so correct. It's easier to grow and build a business or do anything else that you're trying to accomplish if you have a built-in audience. And streaming is a great way to do that, because if you can set up your production, you can set up your lights, you can set up your office, you can set up your studio, then you can make content. As long as you practice on your delivery, you're good on camera, you engage with your audience, you have your format, you have your notes, or you have your thing, you can literally do your thing. You don't have to worry about the editing. In fact, if you use a few fancy little production gimmicks, like having a stream deck or having stuff that you've pre-made in different apps, and you can use Streamyard for that. You can literally set up graphics and banners and logos and all the things. You can almost have, or even if you set up multiple cameras, you can have the appearance of an edited video through a live performance.
Yeah.
And no extra work.
Yeah. I my main use of for Streamyard is I actually use it for recording the Women of YouTube podcast. That's how we have our connections. We can have on screenplays. I can have the videos to use to share later. But when it comes to live streaming, what's really great about Streamyard is that you can create really killer content that accomplishes what you want to, because we have so many cool features in here. We have video overlays. You can add video in and do a talkover situation where you're demoing something. You can do screen sharing. You can have lots of guests in. You can do full screen overlays. If you plan your stream right, which you should always do, you are going to be able to put together something that's really great, where hopefully the actual going live part is the easiest part of what you have to do.
Exactly. The difference between the video on demand versus live streaming is preparation versus post-production. That's the real difference. So the preparation, everything from the camera and production, the set design, the things like the overlays, queuing things up, using Streamyard, using a Stream Deck, using Streamlabs, using any of these number of tools that you could use. I know a lot of people who use Streamyard actually make special certain graphic scenes and overlays in Streamlabs OBS, and they then use that and put that out as a virtual cam, ingest that into Streamyard, and they'd rather use Streamyard for a lot of their features, their management, their distribution, but they're just using Streamlabs for their graphic design. And it works out really well. We have a lot of people who do that. I think David does that. There's so many great things. And there's also great tools just built into Streamyard. So you have these options of just making things the way you want them to be, basically getting it right in camera, and then not having to edit, which is fantastic.
I think honestly, that's the secret to using live streaming effectively when you are a small streamer, a small creator. There's a lot of different things. So like, hey, you know, guys, let me know in the comment section, like what you are live streaming for, just so we can kind of get some engagement in here and see like what you guys are doing. So we know where you're at when we're doing this. But I know for me, it's about like, how can I use live streaming to draw people in, update them about what's happening in the world of social media and content marketing and doing that kind of stuff. And I have to do a lot of planning and working through what we have to do that. So Roberto, I'd love to know, like, when we're getting started as a small streamer where our time isn't super valuable and we're trying to get the most bang from our buck, like, what are your top 3 things we should be doing when getting started? Like, what do you think those are?
I love this question. So what I will say is, here is what I think. So my top 3 pieces of advice, if you're getting started as a small streamer, is first of all, to know like what it is that you are going to talk about in terms of your topics and who that audience is when you're speaking to an audience and you want to stream. So like, I think that that is key to focus on, because you have to put the audience first. And if you don't know who your audience is, then you can't cater their specific needs, their culture, their desires. You don't know how to truly speak to those people. And that's why I think it's important to know exactly who you're talking to and to basically choose your audience and your topics and be thoughtful. So that's the first part of this whole planning thing. The second part, I would think, is to really think about the experience that will be the best experience that you can craft and make for those people. Like, I go out of my way to make a very nice, beautiful, engaging set design because I enjoy watching people who have really cool set design and things like that. I've always admired people who have those kind of things. I admire people who have great, clear video camera production, good audio. So I go out of my way to create the best experience possible because I think that everything I do is on the behalf of my viewers. So that's what I really think as far as a number 2. And then a number 3 is to also make your content in a live stream, really be thoughtful about it to the point of, is there any replay value to the thing that I just created? Is there anything outside of the quote unquote gimmick of the live experience that makes this content viable later, that makes it live on, that makes it useful? Am I making things that would be good to be able to clip later? You might notice like, okay, I went to full screen here. We did my 3 tips. I started over with the question. And guess what? This makes for a perfect clip for later to just take this one thing out and put it somewhere. And that makes it valuable for the replay. It makes it a great place to leave a timestamp. So I think that replay value is probably my 3rd tip and is most important. And it's another way to be thoughtful toward the audience. So let's do that as summary. Summary is think about who you want to speak to and be thoughtful about every aspect of that, whether it's choosing the topic and then the tone that you talk to the audience with. Number 2, think about the experience for that audience and craft a great experience for them in the way that you set up everything for the viewers. And then number 3 would be make sure that there's replay value so that the experience is not just the live.
Yeah, I can get on board with all of those. And I think like to add on to, if I had to give you my 3 tips to piggyback off of in relation to what Roberto said, I think it would be, you want to make sure that you have a run of show. Like, this is a really like common industry term. And what a run of show is, it's a layout for what's going to happen in your show. They use these in the news all the time and they're incredibly 100% scripted. Like, everything is known. But even if you have like a loose bullet point, like, okay, we're going to start out with this and then we're going to transition with this. And this is where I'm going to add this graphic in or have this video. Okay, so I need to know I have to make that. Your run of show will help you dictate like what you have to do to make it all work from that like sort of perspective. And I also think that what your run of show will allow you to do is the second step, which is how can I have really good like quality graphics and imagery when it comes to my stream. One of the things that we get caught up in, I think, as bigger YouTubers and people that do this full time is like we get caught up in the gear and the equipment and all these kinds of things. But if you can create, you can add in that level of quality with what you're doing by having really good graphics and things going on your screen. So if you're talking about something, you should have a graphic that supports it. If you're talking about like how to do something, or you're talking about like something you need to show people how to do a screen share and bring that in and have that planned out. By planning ahead and having those extra visuals, you're going to hold your audience's attention so much better and help tell your story so much better. And then my third thing for you is going to be the little really boring things, which is make sure all of the tech is doing what it's supposed to do. You definitely want to make sure you have a good upload speed. Download speed is great, but upload speed is really important. One of the things that so many cable internet providers always like go on about is like, oh, our download speed is like 250 megabytes. And that's like for watching videos. But what we're doing here as live streamers and creators, we're uploading things. So we need to have a really good upload speed. Highly encourage you to either be as close to your router as possible or have that direct Ethernet connection. I also encourage you to make sure you have like a really good webcam. Now, Roberto, he's super fancy. He has a nice camera using. I'm actually doing all of this with my HD 1080p Logitech webcam. But what allows for it to look nice is I have the webcam settings app for it, so I can adjust my settings. So I can adjust like my lighting and my basically it's like the makes like controlling like the aperture and shutter speed of a lens, while also pairing it with like the features of like Photoshop, where I can adjust like my contrast, my saturation, and things like that. And it allows for me to, it was $5 off of the Apple App Store, and it allows for me to have good production. And then I think that when we're talking about gear and equipment, you gotta have one of these things. Like you gotta have a solid mic so that you can record. I don't care what Logitech or your computer says. You need a really good mic when you're having these live stream conversations, because people can forgive, I think, a low quality internet or even like a basic camera situation. They can't hear you. They are out.
Yes. You know, it's funny. Your audio is almost as good as mine, and you're using about what, $120 worth of audio gear with a USB microphone, Blue Yeti.
I bought this for $54 off of eBay 4 years ago. Used.
Okay.
Because I needed a mic.
Okay. If someone buys it new, to get your quality of audio, they're paying about $129.
Yeah.
Versus the ridiculousness of me putting about $1,200 into my audio setup, which is absurd, and no one should do that. And no one should do that, by the way.
I think that just a difference, like, again, Roberto, like this is your jam. Like this is, you know, almost 500 subscribers of content, years of doing things, production. And like who you talk to, right? Like your setup, your equipment, what you're doing makes sense for your audience. I talk to the everyday business owner, the service-based person that's like, can I do this with my phone? And so I try to like keep that in perspective when I'm creating. Like I have basic equipment. I have probably a fancier space than some people because like my lights are wall mounted and I have them like on a remote turn on.
That's
dope.
You
know, I have like this weird I can actually show you guys what my contraption looks like. I have this weird contraption that holds all of my stuff.
That's
up.
Brilliant. I love it.
So like I've done things to make it easier because I do this so much. But when you're a normal person trying to live stream, like for a show purposes or for creation purposes, just having a good solid place where everything stays the same. Your webcam can stay the same. Your lighting will stay the same, whether it's like a top down or a window situation or a ring light. You can set that up and not move it again. And same with the mic. Like keeping it simple, I think, is the best thing, as long as it's delivering the effect you want, which is professionalism.
I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, again, I think that you can look at what you're getting out of like a $100 webcam and a $100 microphone. And again, some minor tweaks on audio and your stuff could be fine, or you could do like a small amount of sound treatment and it'd be fine. That's all great. And the thing is, some of that stuff is upgradable. If you upgrade anything, you could just upgrade your mic to like an Elgato Wave for like $100 and it'd be even better. And so that's all someone would need to do. And you're right. You're speaking to a specific audience and you're speaking to your audience where they are versus where now my brand is, for better or for worse, at like maybe an aspirational level of where people wish they would want to be one day. But I worked my way up to it because I was using a Blue Yeti microphone like you a couple of years ago. I was using a Logitech webcam for live streaming for a while until I went to using my DSLR camera that I already had, using first a Cam Link, and now I'm using the Atom Mini from Blackmagic if I want to do a multicam thing. So there's levels to all of this, and I don't want people to like get the wrong idea that they have to spend a ton of money. But the thing is, you can also upgrade things incrementally over time, because again, if we didn't call it out, you might not know the drastic difference in our setups if we didn't call them out, because there's little things you can do, like buy a $5 app, and then all of a sudden your stuff is looking much better. So
yeah, it really, and like, you know, it's I think it can be really overwhelming though for people who are small streamers and starting streamers, like all of this stuff. When we turn to YouTube to search for like how to do things, we could be presented with any array of people who are trying to figure out like who are presenting this information. And if they're talking a lot about the tech and all these things, it can really intimidate you, not only like mentally and emotionally, but also like from a wallet perspective. So I think you should know anything that you're doing when you're getting started with it. We want you to have every chance for success, but it's really important to make sure that keep it basic and simple and like expand and improve. It's way more important for you as a small streamer to grow an audience, fine tune your show, make sure it's doing everything you want it to do and accomplish. Like gear is such a small part of what's happening with the live stream. You can't live stream without some level of technology. You have to have a webcam and a mic of some kind.
Yeah, but a lot of people will tell you gear doesn't matter, and they're wrong. Like, I understand their sentiment. Mm-hmm. They're trying to make it accessible to you. They're trying to make you feel better in a lot of cases, and they're trying to help you get started. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can do a lot of this with your phone if you have a decent enough phone. But at the end of the day, a decent enough phone is still a $500 to $1,000 investment. So what are we really talking about? Gear does matter, and mm-hmm. $500 to $1,000 is not an unreasonable thing to do to spend on gear. It can be done cheaper. But what we're talking about is, and when we talk about building and growing an audience as a small streamer, and it might feel like you're going out of your way when you may not even have an audience. But like I keep saying, you need to think about the experience you want your audience to have. How do they spend time with you versus somebody else? I ended up getting this microphone, Desiree, because I kept listening to podcasts that I like, and then I kept listening to my podcast, and it became like unhearable. It doesn't like I was like I can't listen to this. This is like unconsumable to me until I made the leap of getting my Shure SN7B, just because I was like, this is not the standard of getting somebody to pay attention to me versus anybody else that they could pay attention to, regardless of size. I felt like to respect my audience, I had to make the experience what I would want for myself. Yeah. And that really pushed me. And so I would just encourage people, you start with what you have. But your goal should always be to do everything, improve, but to do everything on the behalf of your audience, to say, I want my audience to have the best, they deserve the best. I respect them enough to give them the best that I'm capable of. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But that's where you have to make a priority to do the best that you can with what you have.
Yeah, 100%. So I really want to address a question that someone's in our comments. Chemo Glow, how do you get your guests to set up for a live stream without overwhelming them? I send out guest instructions and have them come 30 minutes early. I think that's a great way to start. And I think that
I'm terrible at that, by the way.
I don't disagree. So my business, like why I do all of these video YouTube things is to bring business and leads into my agency. And my agency focuses on do it for you services. So one of the do it for you services that we do is we do a lot of remote recording for podcasts, and we use Streamyard to do it. So what we're able to do is we produce it with the graphics and the show and stuff, and then we help the host and their guests through the whole audit situation. So what I always suggest people is a two-folded delivery of information. So one, you want to tell them like, okay, when we're getting set up for this, here's what you need to do. You need to make sure that you have good lighting. And I explained the example, like good lighting is not going to be like a top-down fluorescent lighting thing, because you don't want to look like a Disney villain. You want to like have a window in front of you, or like a ring light, or a well-rounded lit space. You want to make sure it's a really quiet space, keeping in mind things that are noisy that you don't think about, like ceiling fans, air conditioners, heaters, traffic, what's happening in your office if lots of people walk by. So you want to be aware of like what is the sound situation where you want to do this live stream. And then the third thing I talk about with them is like internet. We always want to be mindful of like how our internet connections are, because we could have the best upload speed as possible, but they could have a terrible one. And oftentimes what people don't realize, they don't know the difference between an upload speed and a download speed. So you have to give them a little bit of that education. Like we need a good upload speed. So here's how you speed test, and here's how you improve it. You either get as close to your Wi-Fi as possible, or you do a direct Ethernet connection. And if they're doing it from their phone, which you can do with StreamYard, you want to tell them, like, make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi, not like using your 5G or 3G. And then the second delivery of what I would tell my guest is like just the actual, like, reinforce what you just talked about, because that gives them time to set it up, right? And then it's reinforcing, like, okay, we want to make sure that we're reminding them of all of the things that are necessary, and then maybe even provide them with like some questions that you're going to be talking about to ease them into the process. And then other little minor things that people don't think about, again, like you don't want to be typing while you're doing something. You don't want to have a squeaky chair that you like wiggle and move a lot. We want to try and get them to stay still and be mindful of what they're doing and not multitask and things like this. And I say all of these things because I've experienced all of these things from guests where they're like, I'm really awkward and uncomfortable, so I'm going to rock in my chair and it's squeaking the whole time. Or in between me answering my questions and you talking about something, I'm going to type and my mic is picking up the typing of the like really clicky, old-fashioned, typewriters, keyboards. So, being aware of like those situations, what you need, because you have to remember your quality matters. Like you're doing this for your audience. While your guest is helping you, like they're only one part of what's happening here. So you need to have the standard of quality and encourage them. And if they need help working through it, offer to have time to get that taken care of. So that's what that's what I think that you have to really do. And just remember, again, this is why if you start simple and you continue to improve, you're going to be able to relay that to your guests so they understand what that journey is like and why it's important.
I agree. I want to take this question from Nizar Ahmed, and I believe I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. But what are your thoughts on the best for lighting? Mm-hmm. So I believe in diffused lighting, which can be expensive or it can be affordable. What I use is, I think it's no secret that I'm a big fan of Elgato as a brand, not sponsored, but they have sent me, but I've bought almost every Elgato product, but they sent me recently every Elgato product that I didn't buy. So now I have everything. So that's fantastic. I think except for their newest video capture card, which I might end up with anyway, their new Elgato 4K Pro video capture card. I have to check my gift package, my care package they sent me, because they sent me everything. But with lighting, I have two of the Elgato key lights. They're the full powered panels, and like right now I have them at only 20% power. But the reason I like these is I have an app and I have the desktop and I can control the temperature of these lights, which is very important for my complexion. For my complexion, I have to turn up the warmth of the lights that I use, and I have to usually use bicolor lights as someone with a darker skin tone. This could also be true for somebody who's very pale. You have to control the temperature and you might have to warm yourself, or you'll have a very like almost ghastly complexion on camera that's not accurate to you. So the other thing is I can control the brightness, but also I have it set up on my Stream Deck to where I have a switch. Watch this, Desiree. With a push of a button. Like, it's that convenient for me. Everything for me, because I use. Yeah, see? We can't hear you. You muted yourself.
Sorry, I had to mute, my dog's barked. So this is mine without my lights on. This is that Disney villain lighting I was talking about that top lighting does to you. So by having them on, I think the other big thing, and this is something for lighting that people don't think about. Everyone's like ring light life. I have really big objections to ring lights for two reasons. If it's your only option, it's the better than nothing. But is it one, you get alien lights, right? You get the little circle.
Hit mute in time.
Right. You get the like alien eyes, right, with the circle under your pupils, and just looks super creepy. Also, if you have glasses, you can't. It just straight up reflects. And so you get that like really like intense thing. So by having, especially if you wear glasses, and I think at this day and age, the majority of us wear them, even if it's
that's
just
why I don't have an extreme glare when I look straight on, because I'm using it. I'm angled my lighting.
Yeah,
so lighting from the sides. Well, I'm lighting from the sides and I'm at my desk. So my lights are from the sides and I'm angled slightly down just for spread. I could probably angle them straight on and like reduce just a little bit more of it, but it's actually pretty decent if you look at it, like look at me straight on. Like it's pretty decent. It's like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, so that's how I deal with lighting. Like, so I think the 2 lights always works better than just the one, because it's going to give you really good, like, good fill for what you have going on here. And I know
and
as
it
a
also
woman,
means you won't have harsh, especially under the eyes.
It gives you that softer shadows. It's more natural, right? There's nothing natural about being lit, but it's more natural lighting, and you can simulate like a outside situation when you're doing things. But I definitely think, and I even think that Roberto, like everything he has going on behind him is just accent. It doesn't affect the actual lighting of the subject outside the sense that like it's just what's happening behind him. Like he has that like really great coloring, all these different lights that are happening, but he's, manipulated very specifically to not interfere with what's happening here. So I think at the very least, when you're live streaming, when you get to a position in what you're doing when it comes to lighting, you can get to, now I'm going to share with you guys the kind of lights I got, and just because they're a little more,
they're a little bit more affordable. I think mine are $150 a piece or something.
I got mine actually because I'm kind of budgety.
No, that's perfectly fine. Like what I have is unreasonable. Trust me.
I got these actually as a Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. And I thought that these were really great because I also bought these wall mounts. They're like a weird tripod.
Yeah.
That, like I screwed on. I'm sharing my screen if you want to add it in for me, Roberto. This is what I have. This is what I got. I got the Black Friday sale. And what I like about these is I can have the tripod. So if I need to travel with them, I can. I have these plugs. These mounts are really great, and it comes with the bag. But what I like is, and I can get batteries if I need to, but it comes with the remote, as you can see here. Oh, it's blocking. As you can see here. But I bought these things that allow for me to mount it to my wall. So it's like a square with the nub, and I just screw it in.
Okay.
And they're just attached to my wall, and they never leave. So like this is what I used for mine, and I did not pay this much because I got them on sale because it was a Black Friday deal.
So that's close to what I pay for the Elgato key lights. If you take a look at those, but my Elgato key lights mount onto my desk. I think I could mount them onto anything, honestly, but like they have a built-in thing where I can mount them onto my desk. And even my DSLR camera is mounted with an Elgato mount. So I have that. If I wanted to, I could actually add another accessory that lets me, which I might do, that lets me bring it like slightly down or closer or this or that, like distance wise. But I have this Elgato multi-mount that like works out really well for my live streams, and it means I have this camera, and because I have this camera, I can literally zoom in or out. And so,
I can actually do that with webcam settings.
Yeah. So again, there's another way to do it, is you can do it with software. I'm doing it with hardware. I am very much a hardware guy because I like manual controls and analog. That's why like everything is set up here on switches, and I have the gear, and I have I have like a physical audio mixer. But guess what? You could do all that with software on a budget. Like if you got the Elgato microphone, it has software to where everything I'm doing with the Rodecaster Pro physically, you can do with the software if you use the Elgato Wave, which is over on my gaming PC over there. And the Stream Deck, you can do a lot with the software and things like that. You can do a lot of things in the back end of Streamyard. You can do stuff with the Logitech app.
You and I are the perfect example of like the really techie route and the like slightly level up route from like above streamer. But you did say something, and I want to share this with you guys. So Mona had asked me on Facebook what webcam I'm using. I'm using the Logitech HD 1080p. But if you guys notice, there's something very specific about how I'm doing this. And we're talking about eye contact. Eye contact is the bane of live streaming existence. So like if you look at Roberto right now, Roberto is looking up very intentionally into the lens of his camera, but he cannot see the screen that is happening. He has to make this conscious like look down to do it. So Roberto, if you could share your screen, share the screen for me. I found this. And I think it's ridiculously genius. It's called the PlexiCam, and you mount your webcam to this thing and it just sits on your screen. It's clear. I can see through. So I can position my webcam over or like right above the face of my guest or where I need my camera to be looking when I'm having that conversation so that I can still see what's happening on my screen. And so this was like, I want to say it's like $49, but it was like worth it because I can use it, push it to the side if I need to, and it helps me maintain eye contact. I think that is one of the like most important problems that that live streamers deal with. It is eye contact. In order for us to be having this effectively, we have to be looking people in the eye. And when we have guests, we find ourselves looking at our guest on the live stream. And so it just causes this whole situation. So if you're in the position to like level up when this way, I highly encourage you to do that.
I've been looking into just buying an absurdly large monitor for my wall that sits behind where my camera is because I'm kind of stuck in that situation with mine.
I just saved you a lot of money.
But the thing is, well, I'm not using a webcam, so that won't work for me on this.
You could use it because I guess it depends. Like, probably don't use your big old bulky camera. But yeah, but I just think this is a really great option.
No, it's a great idea. It's perfect for the average consumer. Like this is perfect for the average consumer.
And I think most of the small streamers are average consumers, average users. And that's what we're talking about. So guys, so if you guys have questions about live streaming and growing a small audience, like please put them in below. I think we should veer from tech because we've talked a lot about that. We've talked about tech. We've talked about like our tips for getting started. Let's talk about promotion and growth.
Yes. So please.
So Roberto, what do you think as a growing live streamer? Like we're going to go in this vast assumption, you guys live stream and you have some sort of show or situation that you're using and you're here because you want to figure out how to grow the audience more. What advice do you have here? You're like right out the gate, like this is the most basic, simple thing that you should do ASAP for making sure you have live stream growth.
Participate and grow in conversation-based communities, whether that's Facebook groups, Twitter, Reddit. You need to be part of places where Discord servers, you need to be part of places where even a handful of people can say, oh, you're getting ready to stream? Oh, I'll come watch, or I'll come listen, or I'll come participate, or I'll come be a guest on your stream. People don't believe in, or even Clubhouse. People don't understand that they need to be constantly networking if they're going to be a content creator, especially if they're going to be a streamer, because it's an interaction-based medium. And the thing is, you need to be having interactions already and not just when you go live. And that matters. I think there are a lot of people that are here because of the interactions and audiences we've built in the other platforms, in the other social networks. There are people here that are watching us right now because I shared this to my Facebook group, to my Facebook page, to Twitter via Periscope, to LinkedIn, and we're obviously on Streamyard's YouTube channel. There's places, and I tweeted about this, there are places where people, for a live experience versus a video on demand experience, like they need to be active participants, and you need to be able to know when people are available to participate. So you can't do that without being part of a community. Can't build a community without being part of one, as far as I'm concerned.
I could not agree with you more. And I also think that you need to make sure, like, to piggyback off that, when you have people in, this is my like biggest preaching moment about anything that has to do with video marketing, using YouTube, doing things on Facebook, Periscopes, Instagram Lives, anything like that. You need to make sure that your video, your content sharing has a goal. And that goal should almost always be to get people onto an email list. An email list is where you're going to be able to control every part of what's happening and who you get to talk to. You know, for example, again, we're talking small YouTuber compared to large YouTuber. my YouTube channel has like over 21,000 subscribers, and I have a solid like 100,000 a month views right now.
That's really good.
Thanks.
That's really good.
And my number one objective is never like watch my video and subscribe. My objective is get on my email list. And so I'm always incentivizing my audience. Every single video I make, unless it's sponsored, I am like, guys, I have this freebie that's going to help you with what I'm talking about. And I have just a couple standard ones I always use. And so because I'm doing that, I have an email list of over 12,000 people that whenever I do a weekly email to, where I'm giving them continued value, where I'm sharing my videos and I'm sharing what's happening in the world of my life, whether it's I'm going to be a guest on a live stream, I'm going to be on this podcast, I'm speaking at this event. Like, it gives me added value to these other people I'm participating with, and also lets my audience know what's happening. So when you're live streaming, you need to have a way to get people onto your list some way, shape, or form. Now, the easiest but harder to set up way to do that is with like bot marketing. But bot marketing really only works if you're on Facebook. So how can you do that on a place like, YouTube or whatever? It's the exact same thing. Your video should have this intrinsic value that gets people onto a list of some kind. We're on the Streamyard channel right now. Like, we want people that are here. We want to give value to people who live stream. We want to give value to people who are Streamyard users. And we also want to get people who are trying to figure this whole streaming thing out. We want them to go use Streamyard. And you guys should, if you're not using it yet, go use Streamyard. It's free to sign up. And it's a truly amazing, wonderful tool. I have been using it since it's been way back in beta. I've tried all of the other ones and nothing works as easily or simply as this one does. So, again, we're giving the objective of this video. Go check out Streamyard, and also, hopefully we can help you through whatever questions you have. So I would have a very specific objective for every video that you have. So if you have a theme or to your show, like if you're like, so my channel is helping you grow your business with better social media and content marketing. My default opt-in is the secret to anything that has to do with social media and content marketing is planning. And I have a free content planning worksheet you can go grab, and you can keep printing and using it over and over and over based off of your needs, and it highlights your goals and all the stuff. So I have that, and I talk about it very briefly, and I get people on my email list every single day, and I can talk to them every single week when I have something going on. And this is helpful for growing your list or growing your live stream, because you can tell people when you're going to go live so that they can participate, which I think piggybacks off of my next tip, which is schedule your live stream. So
scheduling your live stream is a big deal because it gives you some headroom in terms of promotional time, and it allows people to make it a priority. So that's why I would say is helpful about scheduling a live stream in advance.
Yeah, I think there's so much you can do with it. Like, one of the hacks I like with Facebook very specifically is if I'm going live, because you only have like that less than 7-week window you can use, this isn't a problem, but is that you can create like a Facebook event about it. And if you want to put boosted ad dollars behind it, you can put boosted ad dollars behind an event to promote it. And then you can have conversations and questions and reminders and invite people manually through your Facebook event. Yes, it's manual. Yes, it's time consuming. But if your objective is to get people into your live stream, especially if it's something that's a big deal, it's a big part of your brand, it's like this big part of what you have going on, then it's going to be really helpful for you to do that kind of stuff. Again, having the list in place, if you schedule it out, you can let your audience know upcoming live stream, upcoming training. This is what we're going to do. Make sure you RSVP. Here's the link to do that. Getting people to do things ahead of time. Like, hey, go comment on the live stream, or comment below with like a question so that I can be ready, to answer it during the live stream time. If you like to do a weekly Q&A or whatever, there's a lot of things that you can do that scheduling ahead of time allows for you to accomplish. So got lots of fun questions over here.
Yeah, let's take a couple of those. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let's see. La la la. Roberto uses ConvertKit. I could not love ConvertKit more. I have been a social media marketer for over 11 years. I've used all of them. ConvertKit's the best. It's so easy. It's so affordable. It lets you do so many things. I don't know why all of them don't do it, honestly.
And now they even have like a free tier that kind of works almost like Dropbox and stuff like that. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like you can tag your audience, you can create landing pages, you can do automations, you can email everybody or email segments of your list. It can isolate when people have gone cold, like who you should warm up more. It's just so good. Blue Eye Cosplay is wondering what YouTube channel this was on. This is on the Streamyard YouTube channel. And we're also on the Streamyard Facebook page as well. And then she was on Twitter, so probably then also Periscope. How do you let people know you have a stream on such platforms without directly advertising? Adam wanted to know on LinkedIn.
So Adam, the way that you would probably want to do it is, first of all, in addition to scheduling streams in advance, something that me and Desiree didn't bring up is that sometimes if you have like a day that you stream or a streaming schedule in general, it can let people know when to potentially show up for you in your show. Nick Nimmin has a show that he does Saturday mornings. I have a show that I do Sunday afternoons, but I don't have a strict time. We know that 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Nick Nimmin for Nimmin Live. We know that. It's right then and there. There's a stream that happens on StreamYard where D Nimmin and Daniel Battelle at, I believe, I want to say 12 Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, it's actually earlier. I'm on Pacific time and it'll happen at like 6 a.m.
So something like, no, you're thinking Nick Nimmin for like, I'm thinking D and Daniel's stream here on StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
That's like at noon, I think, on StreamYard on, Eastern Standard Time. So 9 a.m. for you for that one or something like that. But the point is, these are streams that happen on a regular weekly basis at a very specific time of day. That helps with building recognition and word of mouth and all the things. Okay. So that can be helpful. Another way to let people know is like, you don't have to do direct advertising in terms of buying ads, if that's what you're talking about, but you can literally market to people that are just posting when you're going live, or that you're going live in an hour, or that you're live right now. And you could do that across your platforms. You could even use something like Hootsuite or Buffer to schedule it and post that across your channels or something like that. So there's a lot of ways to handle that, Adam.
Yeah. I also, let's see, we have another question, and this is from Info Photography. When do you guys think the optimal time to schedule live streams in StreamYard for YouTube? 1 hour before, 6 hours before, or a few days before? I think a few days before. The more you can give it a chance to promote it, like I said, just posting something on all social media isn't going to do diddly for you, because there's such a let's say you have 1,000 followers on all of your social networks. Let's talk about Facebook, you have Twitter, Instagram, and you post something at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Such a small fraction of those 1,000 people are on at that time and could catch that post. Right? So you need to, by scheduling ahead of time, you're going to be able to add that into your content and sharing plan so that more people can set the reminder so they get notified when this is going to happen. It doesn't matter what your social network is. If you're just live streaming on YouTube, you can still promote it everywhere else. YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, all of those other places. And oftentimes what people will do is they will ask, like on Instagram, hey, I'm going live on YouTube on Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. What questions do you have around, the big changes that have happened in whatever my business is about, right? And then you can have those ahead of time and get the interaction engagement for people to head over and watch there. So you should not, I don't think going live willy-nilly, just go live, is a great idea. I don't. I think that especially if it's something that you do consistently, like a set time and day every week, do it and give it the chance to promote. If you are a small live streamer, you are growing an audience and trying to build up something and build a business from it, give yourself as much opportunity to get eyeballs and attention when you are live.
Yeah. I want to address something Adam is saying, because he's saying that he doesn't want to go, oh, by the way, I stream too, check it out, or he doesn't want to feel pushy or self-promotional. Look, I think that to some extent we all have to kind of get past our insecurity about being self-promotional. And we just have to literally do it if we want to grow something. If you want something, you have to be willing to risk a little bit of embarrassment, a little bit of awkwardness, and you have to be willing to talk about yourself, which, again, even for me, that was hard to do. But you have to, at some point, just get over it and get past it. Because if you want this, and if you want to be a streamer, you want to have a community, you don't want to stay a small streamer, you're going to have to get used to doing things that are uncomfortable, including promoting yourself and including being self-promotional marketing. And people are going to say, oh, you're spammy, or you're this, or you're that. Well, don't be legitimately spammy. You'll know if you're legitimately spammy or whatever. But there's people who, no matter how big you get, I still get criticized. Some of it's valid. Most of it isn't. And so in my humble opinion. So the thing is to just take all that with a grain of salt and accept it as a price and a consequence for the thing that you want.
Mm-hmm. I would also add on to that, you'll never come across as spammy or self-talky if you are actually solving people's problems. Like, you're going live for the intent of helping someone with some problem. The number one rule, in my opinion, when it has to do with anything that you are creating on any platform, YouTube, live streaming, social media, email list, your blog, your website, you are always in the position of being Gandalf. You are always, and your person who's watching and reading and consuming is Frodo. It is your job to guide them on the path to Mordor, all right? It is not your job to just, take the ring and go yourself, okay? Yeah, I'm that nerd, right? And I knew that Roberto was
maybe he should have.
Probably been a lot faster because he was taking that little moth thing and gun, but it's just one of those.
Just call the Eagles.
Yeah, it just is this whole journey you can go on so much. Like that's how you promote it. It's like, you're like, I'm going to help you on this journey. I'm not going to talk about how awesome I am on this live stream. I'm going to, like, you have questions, I have answers. I want to guide you. I want to help you. I want you to accomplish something. And maybe in turn, you're going to get what you need as a professional. My YouTube channel exists to grow my agency. That's the whole reason it exists. However, I'm not on there saying, hi, I'm Desiree, do business with me so that I can have an agency. I'm saying, no, I'm here to help you grow your business with better social media content marketing. And this is the problem I'm solving for you today, right? If you make it about them, it's a totally different situation. So you're never going to be spammy or promotional or any of those kinds of things if you're making it about the viewer, not yourself.
That's the only way I learned how to be a public speaker. Was I was only able to get over my fear of embarrassment and my fear of being on stages by really focusing on the fact that, like, if this is helpful to somebody, it's worth suffering a little bit of embarrassment, isn't it? Like, so
I think, and whenever you're doing something new, you're always going to feel kind of weird and awkward about it. And it is something that you eventually just kind of get over and, I think, let go of, hopefully, with time. So
hopefully.
Some people never do, and those introverts are the people that probably find a way to do different. I personally think introverts make the best YouTubers, because I don't know, I feel like it's just one of those things. Like, me and Roberto are super extroverts, and so we're like, give me the stage.
No, I'm not. I'm an introvert. I'm just very good.
Never have guessed that. And I spent a lot of time with you.
You've spent times with me where I'm just working really hard.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I am.
Because remember, I then disappear and go and curl up into a ball or go eat something, or I disappear for the rest of the conference. Remember?
I don't know. I always spend time with you at a bar talking about nerdy things, because so many of our people and friends are not as nerdy as you and me are.
Yeah.
So we usually catch up about Star Wars and Spider-Man and DC.
Exactly.
We have a lot to catch up on. There's a lot that's happened here. I haven't gotten my Roberto time, but October is happening, right?
But YouTubers were good at it that are introverts. YouTubers who've been around for a while. If you watch my early content, it's obvious I'm an introvert. I didn't become an extrovert magically or anything like that. I just learned how to navigate my introversion to where you could say I'm like an ambivert now, maybe, but my default is still that introversion. How you think I survived the pandemic? Like so
you shined through the pandemic. I was curling up into about crying without being able to have contact with the outside world.
Yeah. So there's so the reason that your point is valid about introverts being some of the best YouTubers is because of their introspective nature, their desire for self-improvement, and their thoughtfulness. And those are the qualities that make introverts very good when they learn finally how to express themselves. Mm-hmm. I had to just learn how to express myself, communicate, find my people, and I had to learn to manage my energy. It still drains me. It's just that I figured out how not to run the battery out very quickly. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's a good point. All right, back to some questions. Mona says, doesn't Facebook send out notifications when you schedule the lives? One when you schedule it and 10 minutes before you go live, or have they discontinued that? I don't know those extreme specifics, Mona, but I do know that, yes, when you go live and when you schedule a live, they will send out notifications. However, they do it in rounds based on like how much you interact with the brand. So like if you're like, I see every single post someone does, you're going to get that notification real quick. But maybe you have to be live for 5 to 10 minutes before they push out and like kind of the waves of what is happening with it in that case. That is why I never rely on notifications or the third-party platform to do things. I take control of it myself by doing as much promotion as I can and using my list.
I think people rely on the platforms too much for everything, both in terms of creators and in terms of consumers. I think that people rely way too much on the platform to do everything. Like people assume that someone didn't post if they don't see it show up on their feed, instead of just literally going to their favorite person's page or YouTube channel and seeing if they did put anything out, which is like, that's a training behavior for your audience and things like that. But it does matter. And the reason it matters is because if you are relying on the platforms and you as a consumer know that that's not always how it's going to work, then once you become a creator, you realize, oh, I've got to pick up the slack for the platforms. I'm already getting the free hosting, the distribution, the tools. I can't rely on them to do all the marketing for me. And I think the problem is that most people rely on all the platforms to do their marketing for them.
I hear you. And like I said, you can't rely on a third party. That's why the list is so important. Like I cannot rely. They're always making so many stinking changes to all these algorithms.
Facts.
We are in a creator position and they think about us last all of the time. They're always concerned about the consumers of content. What do the consumers of content want? Okay, we're going to change everything to make them happy, and you have to adapt as a creator. And the best way for me to adapt as a creator is make sure that I can contact all the people that care about my content away from the platform.
Nicholas has a great question.
Sure.
How do I keep the conversation flowing in the right direction and also know when to wrap up or close, or how do I avoid waffling or get to the point? I'm an introvert too. Nicholas, have a plan. Have a plan, my friend, and have a format. Build your show. Like Desiree, you've talked about this. Build out your show.
Run of show.
Build it out. Have a plan. Don't go into anything without a plan. Have a plan. Have segments. Study the greats. If you're an entertainment streamer, because I know we've talked a lot about business, I know there's a handful of you guys who are entertainment streamers, especially those of you enjoying our nerdy stuff. It's like, look, study the greatest live streamer of all time, Dr. Disrespect. He's the greatest entertainer. He's the greatest entertainer in the entire ecosystem of live streaming as an entertainer. Dr. Disrespect. The man takes it to the next level, extreme in terms of a green screen set, his performances, but he literally has bits. He is in costume and in character for like 8 hours a day on stream. He is like, that's why I say he's the most extreme version of a live streamer, is he's in character for 8 hours straight and doesn't break character pretty much the whole time unless he has to for some reason. He's got all the live green screen stuff and aesthetic. He has an entire brand, set design, sound design, all of it. And I'm not saying you need all of those things, but I'm saying if you study that and you study the thoughtfulness of that, if you study the amount of thought that someone puts into building a master brand, and then you look at yourself, you realize I can work a little bit harder on this, or this. It's not about looking at what they have and then getting discouraged. Even just like looking at my setup or Desiree's setup and then saying, oh, I don't have this. I need this. I need that. I don't have this. All I have is my phone. The thing is looking at what you can do, but also seeing what is possible. Is important, because that'll inspire you. I'm only at the level of production and things that I am at because it was what I enjoyed watching from somebody else. I was like, I admire these streamers. I look at how hard they do. If I'm going to do this even casually, I wanted my stuff to be at a level of like something I would actually watch. So how do you keep the conversation and flow going? Give yourself bullet points, make a plan, have formats, have screen changes, scene changes, cut scenes, whatever you need to do to move along. And again, if you're like, in terms of the pacing, you'll know when it's too long. You'll like just start paying attention to, would you keep watching this if it kept going in the direction it was going? Think about that.
I think that when you're doing entertainment-based things too, it's about anticipation. Like it's like a magic trick, or like what who was the guy? He suspended himself in like a clear box, and the magician. Not David Copperfield. You guys will in the comments let us know who we're talking about.
Was it David Copperfield? It might.
He suspended himself in like a clear box of Times Square, and he does the thing.
Wasn't it? Maybe it was David Copperfield.
Maybe it was, but it's anticipation, right? Like you take a 60-minute show time with commercials, right? When we watch TV and commercials, and like he would just build this anticipation, like build up to how it happened and like what he was doing and what he was studying and like questions and talking to the doctors about how it's a good idea or a bad idea and how he's going to prepare and all these things. And then we got our fulfillment, right? So by building anticipation, asking the audience questions, trying to figure out like whether they're trying to guess things or know things, or David Blaine.
David Blaine, there it is.
It's like I need to just like all of that kind of stuff. Like you have to build that anticipation hype. When it comes to live streaming, it's so different than a regular YouTube video. With a regular YouTube video, you do want to build up hype and anticipation, but with live streaming, it's like it's longevity. Like how long can I keep someone on the stream? How long can I keep them guessing? How long can I keep them wondering how this is happening? And by building the anticipation, you're going to be able to do things. So if you're doing something like I think it was that they open cards, like doing them one at a time, asking people questions, kind of doing it slow about how things are. If you're doing things in gaming, like you need to not get straight to the dungeon super fast. Go along the way, explore, ask questions, like get yourself in a little trouble along the way. And then like bring it around to like what you're trying to accomplish, to give times for people to join in, algorithms to do their thing, and for you to continue to build a relationship with your audience.
I agree 100%. What do you think of this question? How do you deal with some viewers bullying others on the chat while live streaming?
I actually commented on this in case we missed this. You block and move on. The bigger you get, you're able to add in like administrators to monitor your chat stream and stuff. I know bigger brands will do, like vidIQ does this, and bigger live streamers will do this as well. Nick does it, all that kind of stuff.
I'm ruthless about it.
Yeah. And some people will straight up call people out, like, not okay, you're out, kind of a situation. Like, just block and remove. You don't need those kinds of negativity. And remember, if someone is saying something bad about you, it was a reflection of them, not of you. They're just keyboard tough guys who think that they can say whatever they want because there's a big screen between them and they can hide behind their not real name situation on the internet. So
yeah, people call them keyboard warriors and everything like that. I think the rebranding should be keyboard cowards.
I call them internet tough guys. Like they think that they're all like, or keyboard tough guys. Like they think they're so badass, and you meet them in person, you're like, you gonna.
That's why I just okay. You're like, yeah, you're a keyboard coward then, because because even calling them tough guys or warriors is almost too complimentary. It's like, no, you're a keyboard coward. Like, so like, yeah, Matt, just like, one, if you are a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, deputize moderators that you trust to like handle the rabble, so to speak, and like deal with those people, block, ban, move on. And hey, I've been bad in the past about giving them too much energy or time or acknowledging them, and they really just want that attention. Now I realize that since attention is the thing people want, is the thing that they shall be denied, because that's what a true Sith Lord would do, deny you the thing that you want.
I have a little, that's what the Jedi does too. I have little kids. And that's exactly what they do. I have two kids, they're 17 months apart, and they will do bad things to get my attention, to draw away from like the one that's behaving. And it's the exact same thing. Like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm like, you have a room, go to it and we'll talk later. Like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. So just, I think the block thing is the right way to move, and don't give them the time and attention that it deserves. Focus on the 99 other people that are there to love on you and give you the positive praise and that you're helping and stuff.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. The other thing is also look at your keyword block words, filters. Those things just help nip things in the bud from the very beginning. And then you don't really have to worry about it too much.
My best advice, if you need to look for keywords, is you want to find people that are similar-ish to you, maybe a little bit higher, more popular than you, and ask them, hey, what are your words that I should be blocking? I know for me, like I've turned to like Shelly Saves the Day, and she's got a whole bunch that she's got, and then I'm like, hey, what are your keywords these days for blocking? And I just add them in, just so that it never becomes an issue.
I think I have like that even like in my YouTube starter kit stuff. I have like something like that. Mine is extensive, and I had to learn a lot of phrases that I didn't know.
Right?
Yeah. It was like, really?
Like the Google version of it, like when like they misspell something, you know?
Yeah, I have like, that and everything like that. Urban Dictionary was also my friend. So yeah.
Let's see. Adam says I've seen some streamers do a thing where they engage with the person with empathy if they are being negative, and almost immediately the person turns positive.
That's a lot of effort, and kudos to them for being saints and everything like that. But that's a lot of effort. And again, it's still somebody who did the worst thing possible to get your attention, and they still ultimately were rewarded with their attention. So it's a great approach if you want to do that. If you want to take the hug your haters approach, you want to take the high road. Kudos to you. God bless. Thank you for, proving, thank you for your sainthood. I'm probably not going to do it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're about wrapping up here. Do you guys have any more questions about tips and tricks for how you can grow your live streams as a smaller and growing live streamers? I think one of the things that we haven't touched on and is repurposing content. I think this is a fantastic.
We lightly touched on the idea of making stuff for replay value, but yes, please do.
Yeah, so repurposing content. So this is my jam. This is what I talk about all the time. I am the queen of doing more by creating less content, which is super counterproductive to what a lot of people say. You're able to take your video that you have spent so much time and energy like riffing on and developing in your run of show, and you literally have the foundation to build something super BA to put in all of the places. With like one live stream video, you could create a week, if not a month, of content for your social calendar. You're going to be able to take it, make a blog, use email posts, social graphics, quote images, Pinterest pins, take that video, dissect it into small, searchable, keyword-driven chunks based on specific questions and answers that you do. There are so many ways that you can take that video and do more with it. And if you're looking for more ways to grow your audience, show up in other places that they might not know you exist. Part of growing your audience isn't just being limited to one place, right? So not everybody wants to sit on an hour live stream. Not everybody wants to watch a 10-minute YouTube video. Not everybody wants to watch your Instagram reels. Not everybody sees your posts that you do on social media. So when you take your one video and you turn it into tons of pieces of content that you can keep sharing and keep using, keep rewording and use in different places, you're going to be able to save yourself so much headache, first of all, because trying to come up with something new to say on the internet over and over and over again is exhausting and hard. I've been doing it for 11 years, and also with the hundreds of customers I work with, it's hard. So if you can make it easier for yourself and expand and use it for your audience in other places, you're going to be able to grow your community beyond just like what you're doing here on your live stream time.
Boom.
So if you can repurpose, do it, please. It'll save you so much time and heartache.
Yeah, no, it really will.
Go ahead.
And you can look into hiring people to help you with this if you can afford that, or if your business model supports it and it makes sense, or if a sponsor will cover it, then look into services that can provide that for you.
Yeah. Elijah asked the same exact question. Any advice on how to repurpose YouTube live streams into Instagram and TikToks? Yes. Well, TikTok. So this is when you have to be taking notes through your live stream, right? And you perfectly and acceptably should. You should know, like at 1 minute and 1 hour and 2 minutes and 40 seconds, I talked about how you take a YouTube video turn into a TikTok. And I can know like when I'm doing these things, even if I'm just like writing down timestamps to refer back to. And then you can look and like, hey, what can I turn this piece into? Is this going to be a long form thing where I can turn into keyword driven content? Is this going to be a quick Instagram reel where I'm going to show someone how to do something real quick? Can I make this a quick, TikTok mic drop situation, or maybe into like a 3 or 5 parter? You got to look at it from that sort of perspective. I think the one thing that you'll be challenged with from a YouTube thing, and this is really going to be dependent on what's happening on like this part of your screen, right? Because this is where Instagram and TikTok lives, right? So be mindful of that. You can do things like the Gary V method, like where you take your horizontal video, you can kind of crop down and use your top and bottom spaces to put stuff into, which is super fine, super acceptable. Closed captions can go there, like what's happening in this video can go here. Continue to follow like at Mrs. Desiree Rose everywhere. You can do that. But The best thing you can do with your live stream to save you time and headache is just write down timestamps when things that are said that are powerful or that stick out to you happen. And then you can revisit them when you download it. And then you can just, go create that quote graphic, go create that quick snippet or video, or in like what Roberto said, you can hand it to a member of your team to do that, or talk to like a company that does it, with the shameless plug. That's like what my agency does. So it's just like whatever you can do to help make that happen, do it. You've spent all that time on that live stream. Do as much with it as humanly possible. So,
and there you go. That ultimately answers your question. Like we said, it is very powerful to look at your priorities and saying, you know what, this is something I want to expand into. Maybe I need to go ahead and outsource that. Always be willing to get help where you can. So I think that's it, everybody. I think we've got through a lot of help for small streamers in an hour. We probably spent the first top of the half hour of the hour covering a lot of your technical questions. Then we got really hardcore into the growth stuff and answering to that. And again, I think that, is there any final thoughts you have, Desiree, to leave the small streamers in our audience?
Don't give up. A lot of times things that are happening with your live stream, like what is it Desiree says, like you're just a couple tweaks away from blowing up. That applies to live streaming too. You could be live streaming at the wrong time. You could be not being specific enough. You might need to level up how you do it. You need to figure out a better promotion game. Give things time to work, but don't step away from the quality information that you have to share and give to the internet.
And don't look at your numbers and judge them too harshly. One view can be the right view. I had a video that I thought like, oh, clearly this isn't getting the views. Clearly no one cares what I had to say. And I had a YouTube employee reach out to me and thank me for my video and like for the thoughts in that video, and said that they're literally talking about my video around the water cooler and that they are going to look into some of the things that I brought up because they felt it was valid criticism. And guess what? Like, it's a video that got less than 10,000 views that I thought, oh, this video must have just failed. This is like the worst of my last 10 uploads. This video is apparently like no one gives a crap. But that's a quantity versus quality thing. And you shouldn't be thinking about it in the every YouTube creator, every streamer always talks about quality over quantity. And I've always said that that's kind of a BS thing because they never apply this idea of quality over quantity to how many people watched their videos. They don't think about the fact that one view could be the right view. One view is a producer that puts you on like Conan or Ellen or whatever. One view is the right view. One view is that phantom customer that never comments, that hires you and writes you that check that changes your life. Okay. One view could be the right view. One view could be the person that invites you to speak on a stage. One view can be the sponsor that decides to hire you for a right check. Do not underestimate the power of one view, and that the quality of your audience is actually more important than the quantity of your audience.
Yeah, there's this reel that's trended on Instagram for a while, and it goes something like, you might not think that 30 viewers is a lot of people, but if those 30 people walked into your room right now, you would probably be overwhelmed.
Bingo.
So it's just one of those things, like, because context and perspective. Remember, it's okay to be small and mighty. You don't need to have 100, 200, 300,000 people to subscribe or watch your channel and things like that for you to accomplish your goals. And of course, what I think we're all here in business to do, which is make money. So just remember, your information has value. It's just a matter of getting it in front of the right person to convert what you needed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Use Streamyard when you're doing it.
Yes, please use Streamyard. I've put a link for you guys to use it for free down below as well in all of the platforms. I think that link is in the description. The other thing I will say before we go is, like, Desiree, you said earlier that you only have like 21,000 YouTube subscribers. It's that's two thirds of Madison Square Garden. Like,
right. And I tell people that too. Like, if those 20,000 people showed up at something, I would just be like, whoa, like the town, that's like the size of a town, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the size of a relatively, not even a small town. That's like a town. Like, yeah. So, just food for thought there. Well, everybody, that's been it for us. Stay awesome, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.